Hello, Dr. Dan. Welcome to the Elevate Your Soul podcast.
Well, thank you for having me, Arel.
First question I have for you is what elevates your soul?
Such a good question. I don't think anyone's ever actually asked me that before. It's a good one. A few things, but I assume you're like, what's the most?
Yeah.
Like, what the most?
Quick top three or the number one most.
I'll give you, just give me half an hour. I'll give you my top 20. And, it's, I would say actually, the thing that elevates my soul the most is putting together like pieces of a puzzle
Mhm.
in order to help people, right? And that's very much how I see my job as a doctor,
Yeah.
is to try and figure out exactly which puzzle pieces need to be in which spot in order to help someone heal or recover or figure out what's going on. I would say when I'm able to help people and we figure those things out, I get the biggest rush from it. Like my soul goes up all
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Can you tell the listeners who you are and what you do?
My name is Dr. Daniel Quistorf. I'm a general practitioner in Howick, Auckland, New Zealand.
And
And I have a
from,
special interest.
you're from somewhere else though, because you have an
I
accent.
am from, yeah, I'm originally from America.
Yeah.
Born in Phoenix, Arizona, and grew up in California, Southern California, the better part of California. Like half the audience is going to be like upset with that.
Wait,
Uh,
just say.
you have to edit that out, right? Went to university in San Diego, got a Bachelor of Science in Cognitive Neuroscience, so studying the brain, and then moved to Auckland, New Zealand in 2003, and got a degree in human biology and my medical degree from University of Auckland, graduated in 2008. And then since then, started my general practitioner training with the New Zealand Medical Council and College of General Practitioners in New Zealand, as well as studying with the Institute of Functional Medicine in America and the Australasian College of Nutritional and Environmental Medicine, which is a fancy way of saying I like to do like nutritional and natural therapies too.
Oh, beautiful. Good. Good. I like that. I feel like it's more holistic if you're doing that.
Well, I think actually people are starting to want that.
Yeah.
I think people actually want a more holistic approach to their health.
Yeah. Which is good.
Because, if you're just taking medicine all the time, it's just like, well, surely there's more to being healthy than just taking pills, right?
Exactly. Leading on to my next question. How can we boost our immune system to help lower the fear as well with what's going on in the world right now with this virus going everywhere? What can we do to boost our immune system in a healthy way without relying on pharmaceuticals or drugs?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm surprised like it hasn't been discussed more openly. Because when you hear the news or whatever, you're going to hear a lot of things about social distancing, hand washing, and vaccine. I think those are kind of the main talking points that you're going to hear from out there. But actually, there's a whole lot more you can do. And there's a lot of evidence to back all that up. So when a patient comes into my office and they ask me like, I have a cold, can you give me some antibiotics? I say, no, I cannot give you antibiotics for a cold because colds are caused by viruses.
Yeah.
And then I say, do you know how to kill a virus? Right.
Right.
And most of the time they say, no, I don't know how to kill a virus. Do you know how? Have you been watching my Instagram videos?
No, I haven't. Your immune system would be my guess. Your body kills it.
That's right. Your body kills it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so how do you help your body kill a virus? Right. That is the key.
What? You get what it needs and you strengthen it and you boost your immune system by giving your body what it needs.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we have a very complex immune system, and it has pretty much all the tools it needs to fight off pretty much any virus with few exceptions.
Yeah.
And there's no reason to believe that this coronavirus is any different than any other normal virus
Yeah.
for the time being. So, so what do we do to strengthen our immune system for all viruses, right? Number one is sleep. So it turns out that the more you sleep, or at least if you're getting sufficient amount of sleep,
Yeah.
there's something called your innate immune system, which is kind of like the general patrol of your white blood cells, your immune system. Neutrophils, monocytes, macrophages, these are all the kind of like technical terms for our basic general immune strength.
Yeah.
And if you are getting adequate sleep, the numbers of those cells seems to go up in a way that is more protective. And if you are deficient in sleep, then it seems that that innate immune system is weakened.
Yeah.
So the best thing you can do, for example, to prevent sickness is to get enough sleep.
Yeah.
And when you are sick, the best thing you can do is listen to your body saying, I'm tired, right? Instead of going out and working or working out or doing whatever when you're sick, you got to listen to your body and just be like, okay, I'm tired. I'm going to nap, right? I'm going to nap 3 times today, and then I'm going to have 12 hours of sleep tonight. Like that's what your body wants, right? But I think we've trained ourselves out of that, right?
Yeah.
There's 3 other things if you're interested.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. The second one that was shown is like heat. And it's no coincidence that when you're sick, you get a fever.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And most people have been trained to think like fever's a bad thing.
I know, like cool yourself down. I don't believe that, like, oh, like go stand outside or get an ice pack. I'm like, no, your body's heating up for a reason.
That's exactly right. And it turns out that the general ability of your immune system to fight things off increases. It gets more effective at higher temperatures.
Yeah.
And so this fever is a hardwired biological evolutionary advantage that we've given ourselves in order to fight things.
Yeah.
And so whenever people are asking me, so what do I do about my fever?
Yeah.
Instead of saying, you know, what you're usually going to hear is like paracetamol or ibuprofen or something. The actual answer is to, well, help yourself get as hot as fast as possible to give your body the best chance it has to fight this thing off. And it will break, that fever will break when your body has decided that it's done what it needs to do.
Exactly.
You don't have to break a fever. The fever will, your body will break it itself.
Yeah.
When it's ready. Why not assist that, right? There's this old saying, I think grandma like said it, is like, you should feed a fever and starve a cold. Have you heard that one before?
Right. No, I haven't.
So the idea is,
if you starve a cold, how would you
fever? Yeah, feed a fever means like if you're starting to get hot, to help yourself get hotter.
Yes.
Faster. So it's easier for your body to do what it's trying to do. Instead of like taking medicine to lower your fever or getting in an ice bath to lower your fever. No, you want to feed the fever. Get yourself hotter, hot bath, hot shower, sauna, right? Blankets. And then when you're no longer freezing and your temperatures hit that whatever the number is that it needs to get to.
Yeah.
Then it will go down on its own. And then the third thing is starve the cold, right? Because usually when you're sick, you lose your appetite, right? Have you experienced that?
Yes.
Right. And then what do people tell you? You should eat to keep your energy up.
Well, not
right?
I hang out with.
Okay. That's good. You're hanging out with people who are like knowledgeable, but
yeah,
generally you're gonna hear the thing like, oh, you got to keep your energy up.
Right.
You got to eat something.
Right.
You got to do this.
Energy to digest your food, right? And that's why your
body. There's a few things. Yeah, I mean, the first thing is like most foods create an inflammatory response in the body, and it's not the kind that we're wanting when we're sick, right? Immune inflammatory reaction is kind of different than like an inflammatory food reaction. But the other thing is there is a huge amount of your immune system in your gut. So if you're eating things, it is thought that part of your immune system gets diverted, right, to deal with whatever's in there.
Exactly.
But there is also an energy element to it, of course. Like, yeah, it takes a lot of energy to rest and digest.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, I would say, just in simple terms, distracting to the immune system. So it's no coincidence that you lose your appetite when your body's in the middle of a war.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So that's where the starve the cold comes in.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying like you should starve yourself until you're better.
Yeah.
Even though that's what animals do when they're sick, is they just go into a cave and sleep, right?
Yeah.
And they don't eat, they just wait till they're better.
Yeah.
But I would say if you don't have an appetite, don't force yourself to eat when you're sick. I think that's silly. I think we should be able to listen to our own bodies. And if our body then, after however long, whether it's a few hours or a few days, says, okay, we're hungry now.
And
then
sometimes
you should
they're real hungry afterwards.
Yeah, no, you would be, right? Because you're just trying to regenerate now.
Yeah.
Or replenish. And that's when you would really want to get the healthy foods in you, right? Because we know that fruits and vegetables, not only they have like the micronutrients, like the vitamins and the minerals that keep us healthy, which we'll get to is point four. But they also, all the coloring in the fruit and vegetable, these are called phytonutrients.
Yeah.
All of those have tremendous benefit in terms of anti-inflammation, in terms of immune system boosting. And you hear things like beta carotene or resveratrol or quercetin. These are all phytonutrients. These are all the colorings of these fruits and vegetables that we tend to miss out on if we're just eating like saltine crackers and Powerade when we're sick.
Well, I drink so many colorful fruit and vegetables, my hair is purple. So
I was going to say, you probably eat a lot of grapes.
Yeah, and kumara.
Purple kumaras. Yeah. Have you ever juiced a kumara? Are you into juicing?
No, I like celery and cucumber and ginger, but
I'm obsessed with
sounds
juicing.
terrible.
I think, juicing is my favorite thing in the world.
Awesome.
I love it.
Kumara, by the way, for people who don't know what kumara is, who like are living in anywhere else in the world other than New Zealand, is a sweet potato.
Yeah. And we got different ones here, which is quite cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do they have purple ones in North America?
I don't remember seeing purple ones. I just remember like the orange ones. So
now they have purple carrots. Have you seen those?
Yeah, they've had purple carrots forever. They've been genetically modified to be all orange. The carrots come in like white, yellow, purple. It's been around forever. But that's a whole topic. Yeah, same with corn on the cob. Corn on the cob has a whole bunch of different colors, and we've just genetically modified it to like only be yellow.
I love the blue corn. That's my jam. Yeah. Okay, so that brings us to the fourth thing that you can do to help kill a virus, and that's supplements. So there's a few supplements that I would say, especially particular to this coronavirus.
Yeah.
But actually for pretty much all viruses in general, that I would recommend as a kind of standard, I don't know, cocktail or regimen or whatever. And the studies are there to back them up. So there was a few studies. There was a military meta-analysis where they take all these studies and put them together and say what happens, right, when you do this.
Right.
And this meta-analysis said, like, if you take vitamin C every day, you reduce your risk of getting a respiratory tract infection, which is what this coronavirus is. Somewhere between 45 and like 90% reduction, something like that. Like a huge, it's at least half.
I can see that on your page. Yeah, huge reduction. Yeah.
And you also reduce your incidence of pneumonia, which is the severe complication that arises from a chest infection. And you reduce that by 80 to 100%.
That's crazy.
So I mean, there's a huge reduction here just by taking vitamin C. And
the question I have for you is, how do you know if it's a good quality vitamin C? Because there's so much vitamin C at the grocery stores, at the pharmacies, and whenever I'm supplementing, I question myself, like, is it pharmaceutical grade? Is it food grade? Is it good quality? Is my body able to actually digest this pill and like absorb the nutrients from it, or is it just going to shit it out? Like, do you recommend any certain brands, or is there a way of telling which vitamin C is good and which one's not good? Or
it's a tough one.
Yeah.
In general, vitamin C comes in two basic types. You have like ascorbic acid,
Yeah.
which tends to be a little bit more obviously acidic, and it can be
Yeah.
hard on the gut a little bit.
Okay.
And then you have a salty version, which is sodium ascorbate,
Okay.
which tends to be more gentle on the gut. And to me, I've done all the research, and the only thing that seems to really differ between those two is like, one, does it hurt your gut? And two, how much gets absorbed?
Yeah.
And the difference is actually, from what I've seen, not that big of a difference.
Okay.
So I don't think it actually matters what type you have. Then you have the kind of
What brand as well? What brand as well, right?
yeah.
There's
So
vitamin C gummies, there's chewy tablets, there's swallow ones. There's ones that cost $45 for
yeah,
30 pills. There's ones that cost $10 for 30 pills of vitamin C. Like,
yeah,
how do we know?
yeah. I know it's such a simple molecule. It's like a sugar molecule with like a little thing on it. So it's actually quite easy to make, and
Okay.
that's probably why there's so many different brands. And
Right.
at the end of the day, I think they're all pretty much the same.
Okay. Good.
I'm not a fan of, personally, artificial flavors or artificial colors.
No.
And that kind of removes the vast majority of them, right? Because they're all kind of powder or chewable or whatever with flavoring and color.
Yeah.
Just like we were talking about, like how they change the color of the vegetables.
Yeah.
They make vitamin C orange. And
Yeah.
actually, when we give IV vitamin C, guess what color it is?
I don't know. What color?
It's actually see-through, because it's a salt that has
Say that.
dissolved.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, you knew.
Yeah.
But it's a salt that gets dissolved, like as
Yeah.
if you just put, like saline in.
Mm.
So it's actually should be white or see-through. So
Yeah.
the brand that I like is a tablet that has no color or flavor. It's just a white tablet, and you just take it.
Okay.
Some people prefer the lipospheric, which is the kind of fatty, oily one.
Yeah.
And what's good about that is it seems to absorb a little bit better.
Oh,
And
I
you
heard
don't.
that one. That's like the liquid form as well,
Yeah.
right? Mm-hmm.
So that tends not to be hard on the stomach at all, and it tends to prevent any kind of overdosing diarrhea, which is the risk of taking too much vitamin C.
Okay.
But the studies that showed the most benefit were people who were taking at least 3 grams per day,
Yeah.
and as soon as you got sick, you would take 1 gram per hour.
Okay.
So that's the kind of dosing that I would say is like, just take 2 grams in the morning, 2 grams at night as a preventative dose.
Yeah.
And then if you get sick, you just take 1 gram per hour that you're awake. Don't wake up in the middle of the night, because like we said, sleep is most important.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a few other supplements if you're interested.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so the second one is vitamin D.
And is this
There's
still relating to coronavirus, or is this any virus?
It's all virus, but
Okay.
it's these are respiratory tract infections, so it's
Perfect.
a little bit closer to coronavirus.
Okay.
And there was, if you take vitamin D every day as a supplement, you reduce. This was another meta-analysis, so they took all the studies and put them together and said what happens. So if you take vitamin D every day,
Mm-hmm.
you reduce your chance of getting an infection by about 20%. Right?
Yeah.
If you do what the New Zealand government pays for, which is a big tablet every month,
Yeah.
you only reduce your risk by 3%. So 20% reduction if you take it every day, small dose.
Yeah.
3% reduction if you take it every month as a big dose.
Yeah.
So there's something to this kind of, I don't know, constant flow of vitamin D that seems to be more beneficial. If you're vitamin D deficient,
Anything to keep it, maintain it daily.
yeah,
Society's so like, we want one shot. We want one pill that fixes everything.
that's right. And you can get vitamin D from the sun, right? But I think most people are actually just not getting enough sunlight, or they've got the sunscreen on before they've even got any exposure, which may also
So
prevent
can
the
you not
production.
absorb vitamin D from the sun if you have sunscreen on?
No, it's not going to work
Good.
because it blocks the UV ray, and it's the UV ray that can burn you, but also make the vitamin D before you're burnt.
Exactly. It's
UVB.
that perfect balance before you burn. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so most people are probably vitamin D deficient. Now we can't test.
Sorry for all the kids as well, especially in New Zealand, but all over the world, how like their parents are just like neurotic about them sunburning. So they just, every time they're in the sun, they just slap a thick layer of sunscreen on. Like, they're gonna get no vitamin D. Their skin is not gonna build the whatever it is so that they don't get burnt in the future. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's a tough one because there's nuance, right? And
Uh-huh.
this is one of my things, is like discovering the nuance when it comes to optimizing health. And so the New Zealand government, it's in their best interest just to say everyone stay out of the sun completely
Yeah.
because we have so much skin cancer.
Right.
Whereas a more accurate message would be, get yourself good bare sun exposure,
Mm-hmm.
but then protect yourself before you burn. Like,
Exactly.
that would be a nuanced message that is hard for people, I think, in general,
Yeah.
to digest. But I think people are also starting to be more interested in health and their body, for just from my practice and what I've seen. And
Yeah.
I can say it like that and they understand it.
That's
And
really cool. How many years have you been like seeing patients, and how long ago was it that you realized that people were starting to get interested in holistic health?
so I graduated in 2008, but I was probably seeing patients like in 2005
Mm-hmm.
as a med student.
Yeah.
And then in 2012, I had kind of my dark night of the soul, and kind of opened up to the possibilities that there's more than just kind of pharmaceuticals which can help people with their health. So since 2012, I've been really kind of exploring all these other avenues of wellness, you know. And it's funny because it's like, it's easy to recommend the kind of physical stuff, right? Do your exercise, eat your healthy foods, have your supplements, do
Yeah.
your saunas. It's a little bit harder to recommend like an emotional, spiritual approach to health
Mm-hmm.
when you're in a clinic and you see someone for 15 minutes. You know, it's a little bit trickier,
Yeah.
but it's important. It's very
Yeah.
important.
Have you recommended that before? And if so, like, how would you say that to your patient?
I guess
Do you
you have
recommend
to.
meditation or?
Oh yeah, no, I would recommend meditation to everyone. And my favorite thing is it depends on like where they're at in life, and like how engaged they are and how eager they are.
Mhm.
But my favorite is the 10-day Vipassana retreats. I don't know if you know about those.
No.
Oh my God. Okay. So if you go to a website called dhamma.org, DHAMMA
Yeah.
.org, you're going to see that there's these meditation facilities all over the world, probably hundreds. And you do a 10-day silent meditation retreat. They feed you, they house you, they teach you, and there's no cost.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's all voluntary, what you
Right.
pay or if you pay in service.
Wow.
And it's taught by a guy named Goenka, who is now deceased, but they recorded all of his teachings. And he was trained by the monks of Burma, who have precisely recorded Buddha's teachings word for word for the past 2,500 years. So when Goenka went to learn how to meditate from these Burmese monks, they taught him exactly what Buddha taught, right? Here's how you reach enlightenment. This is the meditation. And so that was called Vipassana.
I've heard
And
of
so you
that.
learn how to do this over 10 days. You learn how to do this meditative technique. And you also learn about the Buddhist philosophy. And to me, that is one of the most transformative experiences that I've ever had in my life.
Done it.
I had to go back a few times and do it.
You've done it.
Yeah, I've done it 4 times.
Jeez, 10 days.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. That's a life changer. It's a total
Yeah,
life changer.
I can imagine it's a life
You'll
changer.
love it. You'll love it.
Yeah, no thanks.
No,
All right,
I
so
think
ways we can boost the immune system. I think we've covered mostly that. Why do you think on the mainstream media people aren't talking about boosting your immune system?
that's a real good one.
Yeah.
And it's something that we've struggled with. I don't know if we call ourselves like complementary medicine or alternative medicine or natural medicine or functional medicine.
Yep.
It's like we've never been able to really gain any traction in what we'd call the mainstream. And it's so strange to me because we have so much evidence that things like intravenous vitamin C, which have been around for like a century or something like that,
Yeah.
is still a struggle to
Yeah.
get that, say, in a hospital,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But the thing about this pandemic is like New York hospitals are now doing IV vitamin C,
Interesting.
right? The
Okay.
Chinese hospitals are doing vitamin C. And so it's like an opportunity for us to maybe get some street cred,
Yeah.
and maybe like be like, oh, wow, this actually works. We
Yeah.
had a case in New Zealand, I want to say like 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And there was a guy who was pronounced clinically dead from some sort of flu virus pneumonia of some kind at Auckland Hospital. His name was Alan Smith. And his family said, well, before you pull the plug on his life support, can we give him some intravenous vitamin C?
Oh.
And I think there was a legal process that had to happen and all of this. But at the end of the day, he ended up getting the IV vitamin C and he came back to life. Like he was totally fine after that.
Wow.
He survived after he's like pronounced clinically dead.
Jeez.
Um, but then we never ran a study on it,
No.
right? Like we had the dude come back from death back to life, and we didn't even do a study on it. And it's like, well, I mean, if there's a time to do it, it's now for sure.
Why do
So
you think that is that we never did a study on it? Is it because, as you said, it's really easy to create vitamin C? So a bunch of companies will just be able to create it themselves, and one big master won't be able to create it themselves? Or like, why is that they haven't looked into it, and why isn't it easy for us to go get the vitamin C? Like,
yeah, I mean, I don't know why. I
mhm,
don't know why. I mean, at the end of the day, most answers tend to be about money,
yes,
right? And we'd be like, well, who's going to pay $1 million to do an IV vitamin C study,
hmm,
since the IV vitamin C manufacturers are probably not making much money at all. I
right,
mean, a 30-gram intravenous dose of vitamin C
yeah,
that we purchase it for our clinic
yeah,
is like $50.
okay.
So,
How much
it's,
does it cost as a patient? Like, if I wanted to get one, how much does that
yeah, so
be?
it's a little bit trickier because when you come to a GP clinic, you have to add on the cost of the doctor's time, the nurse's time, the IV fluids, the line, the lure,
Yeah.
right? So it ends up being about $200 for a 30-gram, what we'd say is a virucidal dose, according to the literature.
And if someone wanted to just live like an amazing, optimal, healthy life, how
Yeah.
often would you recommend that they get one of these? Like once a week or once a month?
You probably wouldn't even need one. If you were living a healthy, optimal
Okay.
life, you can
Okay.
get everything that you need from your lifestyle.
Mhm.
But if for whatever reason you got sick,
Right.
then these studies tend to show that you would do one like every day for a few days,
Oh, okay.
and then when you're back to normal, you just go back to your normal lifestyle stuff.
Yeah.
But the other stuff that's coming out of Italy and Spain and China and I think even Thailand is this ozone thing. I don't know if you've heard of ozone therapy. I
No.
talk about it a lot on the Instagram,
Yeah.
but it's basically a kind of oxygen therapy that assists our body in doing what it's doing anyway
Mhm.
to destroy virus, which is making free radical oxygen. It's
Yeah.
called a respiratory burst, and it can also make hydrogen peroxide out of that, which is basically how our immune system does what it does.
Yeah.
And so there's really good data coming out with the ozone oxygen studies,
Ozone
and
ox-
so I'm really hoping that it gets traction because it's pretty amazing stuff, and it's super cheap. It's like that would cost pretty much $0 once you have the generator and the oxygen tank. It's super cheap,
Right.
right? But
Interesting. And how does that work in the body? Like, can you describe how that helps?
yeah, so I have this thing called my favorite picture in the world. And
Uh-huh.
if you Google or Bing or whatever you use for your searching, uh, hydrogen peroxide, vitamin C,
Mhm.
okay? It's going to pull up a picture from a study which shows how our body kills infections. And it's a very simple picture. At the top, you have vitamin C, and it's called ascorbic acid. And that gives an electron to iron, which is the second part, right? And then iron gives an electron to oxygen, which then creates this ozone. Okay. And now our body can use that ozone to kill stuff,
Yeah.
or it can add hydrogen to make hydrogen peroxide. Now, most people have heard of hydrogen peroxide. It's
Mhm.
like bleach, and you can use it for cuts and scrapes, as a disinfectant, as a sanitizer, because hydrogen peroxide kills everything.
Yeah.
And our body makes that.
Mhm.
That's how our body destroys things. And it can also use the ozone itself to destroy things. And we know that ozone is a sterilizing agent. Like if you have like car smoke in your car,
Yeah.
like embedded in the fabric, you can use ozone and it will destroy that smell. It can also destroy mold from leaky houses. It's also used to sterilize temporary hospitals and military hospitals. So we know these things are very, very antiseptic. We
Right.
know that they destroy all these kind of microbes,
Yeah.
and our body does it naturally.
Mhm.
It's amazing. And you see the building block: vitamin C, iron, and oxygen. That's all you need,
Yeah.
right?
Wow.
And that's like, it's so beautiful and simple, like
Yeah.
how the human body works.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's fascinating. Fascinating. Can
Mm.
we talk a little bit on 5G and for our the conspiracy that 5G has to do with coronavirus or
Yeah.
starting coronavirus? What do you have to say about 5G in general?
It's a tricky one because, like, at the very basic
Hmm.
idea, I couldn't find a single safety study on 5G. I
Yeah.
couldn't.
Yeah.
Like, as I want to be able to point to something and say, yeah, this has been proven to be safe,
Right.
right? But there's this thing that happens where things are kind of generally regarded as safe,
Hmm.
and so then we just get this kind of ongoing usage of stuff.
Yeah.
The most classic example, I think, has to do with like pesticides.
Hmm.
uh, and it was like, oh well, glyphosate is generally regarded as safe,
Yeah.
so we just let them use as much as they want.
Right.
And that's like Roundup. And
Right.
now,
Because the benefit for them growing the food is just like, oh, if it makes a few people sick, like whatever, it's so much easier for us to grow potatoes or whatever by using the stuff.
yeah, and then what happened is, like, Monsanto, the biggest manufacturer of Roundup using glyphosate, was sued by California to the sum of several $100 million for causing cancer,
Wow.
right?
Wow.
And
What
this
was
is
that? How long ago?
what
How long
that
ago?
was like that was a year or two ago.
Okay. Yeah.
So I mean, but we're still using the stuff, and it's so interesting to me. So because it's like still generally regarded as safe, even though there's so much mounting evidence.
Yeah.
So now we're having the same issue with Wi-Fi, mobile phones,
Hmm.
and electromagnetic kind of radiation is the basic term for that, EMR. Or if you're talking about electromagnetic field, you would say EMF, right?
Hmm.
And so generally, the consensus has been that along this huge spectrum of electromagnetic radiation, you have the dangerous ones we call ionizing. That's like gamma rays from radioactive materials, X-rays, which we do for X-rays and CT scans,
Yeah.
and ultraviolet rays, which burn you. Like, those are considered the dangerous ones. Those directly destroy your DNA and cause cancer. That's accepted.
Uh-huh.
But what's not accepted is any danger from all the rest of it: visible light, right? Infrared light, microwaves, and
Hmm.
then radio waves. Like, everyone just says those are safe. That's
Right.
fine because they don't kill DNA, so it's fine, right? But actually, we've gone over these studies on the Instagram channel, and I could find a few that actually point to the fact that there is potential danger with the microwaves,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
And the question is, well, how is that possible? Because it doesn't destroy DNA.
Yeah.
So how could it be damaging to you,
Right.
right? And the thought is, um, according to a few studies, that it increases the free radical production in your cells. It causes some oxidation
Right.
somehow that
Right.
your body has to continuously repair.
And is that,
And
are you talking about that is when you're standing near a microwave when it's on, or is that when you eat food that has been microwaved?
so it turns out that actually our Wi-Fi and our mobile phones use microwaves, the same microwaves used in a microwave oven, just at a lower, just at a lower power.
But it's on all the time. So if you have your phone next to your body all the time, it's actually on all the time versus a microwave. Those microwaves are only going when you turn the microwave on and you're using it. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
potentially. And so the thought is that if you are near a Wi-Fi, a mobile signal, a microwave oven,
Mm-hmm.
there is some effect going on in the body. And there is one study that suggests that we have these channels in our cells called calcium channels. And when they're open, calcium goes in. And when they're closed, calcium stays out,
Yeah.
right? And there's a reason that your body would want calcium to go in and out. Now, what some of these channels are is called voltage gated, which means electricity or electrons or power, electric fields can influence these gates, these channels. So they're called voltage gated calcium channels. And there was a study to suggest that these microwaves, these Wi-Fi's, these mobile signals can potentially open up these channels when they're not supposed to be open,
Right.
allowing calcium to go into the cell, causing this oxidative free radical damage inside the cell that your cell then has to repair, right? And that seems to have flow-on effects with other hormones that your body's trying to make. For example, melatonin, which we know is a reparative hormone.
Yeah.
And there was a New Zealand study that seemed to suggest that exposure to these Wi-Fi signals lowers your melatonin production.
Yeah.
And then there was another study that suggested there's a hormone called calcineurin, which is responsible for developing your immune system and
Mm-hmm.
helping your adaptive T cells like grow and develop. And so if that's reduced, then you have like an immunosuppression,
Yeah.
right? And this is all just with normal kind of Wi-Fi stuff that we already have. This is even including 5G. So the basic principle, like it's generally safe, I think is flawed.
Right.
And
Right.
so then to add something that has more power behind it, more amplitude,
Yeah.
I think we're going to really see a lot of pushback until we've got some safety studies.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's my take on it. I can't say it's like, I can't say it's bad.
Yeah.
I know that because
It's good.
there's a thought that there's no virus at all.
Yeah.
And you and I were debating, like, what is David Icke trying to say here?
Yeah.
But he seemed to have like two different standpoints at the same time. Like one, there's no virus that doesn't exist, and the other is like there's a virus, but it's not dangerous. It's 5G that's dangerous. And I would say there is a virus and it exists.
Yeah.
The question is, how dangerous is it? We're still trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
We still don't know. It's like it changes every 12 hours, like to being the worst thing to not being a big deal to, but maybe it's like gonna hurt us in 2 years time. Like there's
Mhm.
just, it's so hard to kind of put it all into a package that makes sense right now.
Yeah.
But I do think that the Wi-Fi in general, the EMR,
Mhm.
uh, is putting more stress on our systems.
Yeah.
I do believe
Exactly.
that. And so it's like if you can take a respite, if you can take a rest from the EMR of any kind, whether it's 5G, Wi-Fi, your mobile phone, like turn
Right.
off your Wi-Fi at night, put
Right.
your phone on airplane mode,
Yeah.
keep it far away from your bedroom,
Yeah.
and turn off everything you can so you can get a good night's sleep and let
Yeah.
your melatonin do its job at night.
Yeah.
Like that's, I think, what we should all be doing anyway,
Yeah.
regardless of like how
Fine.
many G's are out there, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's really good advice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything else? Yeah. Go for
We
it.
should all be asking for safety studies though for 5G. We should all be like, that should be a no-brainer. That should be unanimous worldwide. Like we should all be requesting that.
For anything
Absolutely.
that comes out that's new before they start
Well,
testing.
yeah, yeah. It's surprising like what we can get away with. There's so many chemicals that get approved by the FDA or the EPA in America that we're finding out, oh, actually shouldn't have been approved.
Yeah.
Wasn't
A little
safe.
while later. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, you know,
Yeah.
my bad. That's
Yeah.
kind of, yeah, I mean, you're right. We should be doing that for everything,
Everything.
I
Exactly.
think, you know.
Yeah. Is there anything else I haven't asked you about that you feel called to mention?
Is that a hint? Like, is that like, did I forget a question?
No, no, no.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think the thing is like, this is really like, you can empower yourself in this time, and it's frustrating for me seeing how disempowered
Yeah.
people are starting to feel about this, because it's like all people I think are hearing is you have to stay home, you're
Mhm,
locked away, you
mhm.
can't work, you're out of money, you have to do
Yep.
what we say, and
You
you have
might
to
lose
wait for a
your job, or
vaccine.
you already have lost your job.
Yeah, and then you have to wait 2 years for a vaccine,
Mm,
uh, because that's the only hope that you have. I mean, I
right.
think that's totally disempowering, and I think it's incorrect. And it's like, well, hold on, like we we have 4 billion years of like immune power within us.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
viruses are all the time. It's everything. It's everywhere. We have the ability to fight them, and you can put yourself in a state of health that allows you to fight this off easier. And we're seeing that. We're seeing that people who tend to die from this virus
Mhm.
tend to be people who have other illnesses, people who have high blood pressure, who have ischemic heart disease, which is like people who've had heart attacks,
Yeah,
people who've had strokes,
yeah.
um, diabetes, high blood pressure, all of these things that you
Already
can
have a
improve.
compromised immune system.
Yeah, and you can
Yeah.
improve those things, right? It's like those, none of those are like destiny.
Right,
Those
right.
things are modifiable.
Uh-huh.
And it's just like, well, why don't we just start working on modifying them?
Right.
And we can. That's
Exactly.
the whole point of what would I do.
Yeah, yeah.
So I hope the people watching this get, at least maybe they're like, oh, I should sleep more, I should do
Yeah,
some saunas, take some supplements,
right.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
Yeah, awesome. How can people get in touch with you or find you online?
So I pretty much only use Instagram now, which is Dr. Dan official, DRDAN official.
Yeah.
I've been trying to do like 5:30 Instagram lives every day,
Mhm.
just to kind of give people updates about what's happening in New Zealand and around the world.
Yeah.
I'll keep doing that as long as we're on lockdown, I think, just because it's like something to do.
Yeah,
And it's very much trying to empower people throughout this thing,
good.
right? It's like I don't want to underestimate this illness, but I also want to empower people to be able to uh, stand up to it.
Totally.
And
Yeah.
so yeah, so you can get a hold of me through there. And my practice is in Howick, in
Mhm.
Auckland, New Zealand, and that's East Auckland.
Yeah.
And all the details are on my Instagram page. So
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you for your
you're
time.
welcome. Thank you for having me.
Great. Thank you.